It's time to wake up.
The Lakers.
It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I wanted to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game.
Come on!
We back. Pregame show. Let's go. It's a lot to get into. Not a lot of time to do it. An awful lot. A former host in this station like to say. Warriors 99, Dallas Mavericks 109. Warriors lose their third game out of their last four. They are now 34-31. And they got a massive showdown this Saturday night in La La Land against the Lakers team that is equally as inconsistent as they are. I don't know what their excuse was in Sacramento last night. The Warriors don't have Stephen Curry. I don't think they were expected to beat Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, and co. So, massive, massive game this Saturday. Just got even more huge because of these two teams and their recent losses. So, we'll dive into this one a little bit. 888-957-9570. I don't know how much you can take away from this game, to be honest with you. You know, they lost. Who expected them to win this game? No Stephen Curry. You're going up against a guy in Luka Doncic that had 7 straight triple-doubles heading into it. Ends up leaving the game with a hamstring strain, but finishes the night 21 points, 9 assists, 3 boards. It's an off night for him. 6 turnovers, by the way. Sloppy night from Luka, but when you handle the ball that much, it's bound to happen. Kyrie Irving, though, efficient, 8 of 16, 23 points, 10 assists for him. So both Luka and Kyrie nearly combining for 20 assists there. And when that's happening, that means everyone else is getting involved. And that's just the case. Not enough role players for the Warriors getting involved. And the opposite for the Dallas Mavericks, as, again, they win 109-99. The Mavericks improved to 38-28 on the season. As we look at the Western Conference now, and good morning to all you lovely people just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for the weekend. If you're taking a long weekend, it's windy out there. It's windy. And no, I'm not talking about Brian Windhorse. God, my allergies, though. I knew they were going to be kicking because I took my pills. I actually take nasal spray. Took my nasal spray last night, as I do, so I'm fine while I'm sleeping. When I got up, I just sneezed like crazy. I was like, what is going on? Then I get outside. Everything's windy. I was like, oh, there it is. The pollen. Got screen doors. Must have slipped through, Sammy. That's what happens. So, windy out there. If you're an allergy sufferer, please go take your medication. It helps. You don't need to be running a faucet on your eyes and nose. It's not fun. Trust me. And then the itchy throat. It's a mess. People. So, PSA out there. Go take care of yourself. But as we look at the Western Conference, as I digress about my horrible allergies and my schnoz suffering, Warriors are the 10th seed still. Game back from the Lakers in the 9th spot. 3.5 back from the 8th spot of the Mavericks. 4 back of the Suns and the Kings. 5 back from the Pelicans. You're starting to get the picture here. You're starting to get the picture. The Warriors and Lakers are destined to play. And either one of them are going to be the 9 and 10 seed. Lock it in. Do what you got to do. That's just the reality, folks. Thank you. I don't see it any other way. I don't see them making up enough ground against the Mavericks. And even though they got, 2 more against the Mavericks after last night's loss? Split that. You're going to have to win both of them if you want to climb out of there. And I just don't see that happening. The way the Mavericks are playing right now, they've won 4 in a row, although Luka's injury will wait and see on that. Lakers, they're just as inconsistent as the Warriors. They'll go on a little stretch and then they'll lose 3 in a row. It's just what they do. They had their 3 top scorers last night do diddly poo against a shorthanded in depth Sacramento Kings squad out at the Golden One Center, and they got their asses kicked. By the way, Anthony Davis now 0-10 in his career, straight up against Domantas Sabonis. Talk about getting your lunch pail stolen. That's what Domantas Sabonis does every single time. He takes his Lunchables. He doesn't care if it's the nachos, the pizza, the ham and cheese crackers. I don't even know any other one. Those are the only Lunchables I know. I think there were some chicken nuggets at one point. That was a little after my time.
There's the pizza one, too.
I mentioned the pizza one. Yeah, the pizza one.
Yeah, and then dessert pizza.
Yeah, the dessert pizza. No.
God, that was next level awful.
What are we doing? Are we just giving our kids just straight sugar?
Our kids do. This is what we ate when we were kids.
No, I give the Lunchables to Benny sometimes, just if it's a treat and he just wants it. He sees them at Safeway or what have you, and I give him the pizza one. It's so gross though. It's just this stale. It's almost like cardboard, and then
it's like hardtack basically.
And then it's like ketchup sauce basically, and he just sprays that thing all over. Doesn't even sprinkle the cheese on top, which is all processed anyways. And just takes bites and bites. He's like, this is good, Dad. I was like, oh, I used to eat this too. Just disgusting.
The things we used to put in our body, it's ridiculous.
I still do. I had some Shake Shack.
Yeah, still, that is true.
I had some Shake Shack last night, Sammy. I'll tell you what. Whew, that was hitting. They have this like Korean menu on right now. The Korean fries with that peanut, like soy sauce, dipping sauce. It was just, tremendous.
See, I was doing pretty good, and then it became Girl Scout cookie season. And then it's like, well, so much for that.
Power rank your Girl Scout cookies right now.
Oh, the s'mores are definitely number one.
S'mores, okay. Not mad at that.
Yeah, no, I
think those are underrated.
S'mores,
okay.
In one sitting. Let's see. Yeah, we've got the Tagalongs. They're up there. Samoa's close behind them. The Thin Mints, which feels very low, but that just really is a testament to the Tagalongs and Samoa's there.
Fair enough. That's it right there. That's Sam Lubman chiming in with his Girl Scout cookie talk today. Sam Lubman, by the way, host of Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys alongside Joe Shasky. Baseball's right around the corner. And how much are we going to talk about the Giants? Well, that's all dependent on the Golden State Warriors and if they can make a run. We got about a month left of them playing regular season basketball until the play-in. And again, I see them as a 9 or 10 seed in the West. I don't know if they can climb to the 8 and 7. We'll see. Stephen Curry will be reevaluated tomorrow, but all likelihood, if he's going to make the trip to LA, he's probably going to play. So we'll wait and see there. Anthony Slater, our 95.7 The Game Warriors insider. I almost said NFL insider. I was like, does Anthony know ball? He's a Dolphins fan. He knows some. He knows about heartbreak. That's for damn sure. God, they're going to pay Tua too, aren't they? Ugh. Gross. Tua's not the guy, especially not in the AFC. Maybe if he's in the NFC, you can get past that, but not in the AFC. Tua ain't getting it done, especially with Josh Allen in your own division. And don't get me started on the other guy in that division, Aaron Rodgers. Gee, I got something for him in about 23 minutes. Yeah.
Vice President Aaron Rodgers.
Nah, I saw something yesterday.
Yeah, no.
That guy's a horrible human being. We'll get to that in 22 minutes. But Anthony Slater, not a horrible human being. Great dad, by the way. He has a little guy running around in the background sometimes of his interviews. It's kind of like a mashed potatoes guy. Slater talking about Steph practicing in LA, and if he wasn't going to do that, and let's take a listen.
I'll just say this. If there wasn't a very solid chance he was going to play in LA, I would be surprised that they would fly him to LA for the practice, right?
Right.
He's got to get through the practice. He's got to get through even today, I'm, doing workouts in the Bay and make sure the ankle feels good. So I wouldn't expect like a full clearance till at minimum like 24 hours before where they put in the injury report, but maybe even day of, but trending that direction. Kind of like a mashed potatoes guy.
Thank you. He is a mashed potatoes guy. That's our guy, our 95.7 The Game Warriors insider, Anthony Bleepin Slater. It always makes me relax when I hear Anthony talk, by the way. Just a very chill. And that's what I want from my beat reporters and the guys covering my team. I don't need any slant. Oh, they didn't need Eric Armstead. Oh, they're going to keep everyone. It's fine. No, I don't need that. I don't need that. Everything's not always sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes you're not going to win it all. And Anthony Slater talked about how the season can still be a success without a title.
I think Kuminga's looking like really good through the playoffs, right? Where it's like you can even get to the second round, and yeah, sure, maybe you lose in 6 games, but Kuminga's averaging 22 on good efficiency and just looks playoff ready, which would mean, you have your potential number 2, number 3 type guy moving forward, or you have one of the best trade assets in the league into the summer, depending on how you want to build the roster. I think that's massive. Some of the other younger guys helping, and then I think fans can answer it themselves, whatever their internal expectations on this team actually are. I mean, are they okay if they, upset Minnesota in the first round and then lose in the second round to Denver? Like, is that satisfying? I don't know. I mean, if their answer is like championship or I'm upset, like, you're probably going to be upset. Let me break some news to you. But I think there are still ways where you go into the offseason feeling good about what this core, can be.
Now, people are probably like, Spadoni, they were expected to lose last night. What are we talking about? They still have maybe a chance to go to the championship. Maybe. Sure. And I talked about this yesterday. Luck has to be involved a little bit here. An injury, I mean, that could be, I hate to say injuries are lucky for a team, but that's the break sometimes. Hey, Kawhi Leonard against the Warriors, he was cooking before Zaza Pachulia took his legs out. And they changed the rules and all that. Landing space. But that series could have gone differently had Kawhi Leonard stay healthy and the San Antonio Spurs stayed healthy. It didn't. They lost that game. They blew a 20-point lead after Kawhi left. The rest is history. But things have to happen sometimes. And you look at the top of the Western Conference, Timberwolves already without one of their best players, Karl Anthony Towns, although Anthony Edwards, my God, guy's just a beast. Absolute monster out there. He has given me some like Kobe vibes when I watch him. Fearless, swag. He's a good interview. He's in the movies. I'm telling you, future face of the league. It's not John Moran. It's going to be Anthony Edwards. He will be the face of the National Basketball Association. Luka, he'll have something to say about that. Absolutely. But Anthony Edwards, if we're talking homegrown American star, not even close to me. Just the upside is sky high for him. But you look at that Timberwolves team, could they be a first round exit? Potentially. That wouldn't shock me. Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook, hurt, doing what the Clippers do. And then, what James Harden is in the playoffs. He turns into a pumpkin. Saw that with the Houston Rockets many a time. Thunder, they're young. And you know what? Maybe they're just so young and dumb and they don't know any better. That could happen. Nuggets, they won 4 in a row. They're 9-1 in their last 10. They're a juggernaut. That would be the most shocking to me if they were anywhere but at least the Western Conference Finals. So all those top 4 seeds. And then you got the Pelicans, the Kings, Suns, Mavericks, Lakers, Warriors. So, yes. Can they get a lucky matchup? Sure. Can they win a series? Sure. Can they win 2? Can they win 3? Can they win 4? That's a tall task. And you heard it from Anthony Slater there. And Anthony knows his team better than anyone, inside and out. If your mindset is championship or getting upset, you're probably going to be upset. But maybe it's time to shift the expectations just a little bit. And you heard it from there. Jonathan Kuminga. He's been a plus player this year. But it's hard a month to go in the regular season just to say, this season was fine. And I heard Mark Grandy yesterday, the Grandy man, doing a hell of a job, by the way, filling in for Mark Willard alongside Dan Dibley. Mark saying this season's already a success for the Warriors. Is it? I wonder about that. Because the Warriors last year, in a season of tremendous turmoil, with a dark cloud hanging over your franchise, with a disgruntled player, multiple disgruntled players, with a Klay Thompson, in the playoffs, having his worst performance ever. Steph Curry clearly shouldering a massive load in that second round. You were still a couple games away of getting to the Western Conference Finals, even with all that going on. So, if we're under the impression that this year, at least, in the locker room, there's not as much turmoil. On the court, there doesn't seem to be as much turmoil, although I get it, the Draymond Green suspension threw a monkey wrench into things. I get that. But since Draymond's been back, he's been playing pretty damn well. Now he missed last night's game, late scratch with lower back soreness. Hopefully that doesn't linger into Saturday's matchup against the Lakers, because that would be a tall task for TJD. But you know what? I'm not mad at the Rook going up against Anthony Davis after what I saw him do against Giannis and Victor Wembanyama, but specifically Giannis, who's more of a similar build to Anthony Davis, I give the Rook, hey, I'll give him some heavy minutes. Not heavy, that's strong. Relax, Joe. Take a deep breath. But I'll give him some solid minutes on Anthony Davis. Absolutely. See what he's got. Now, do I want to live there the entire game? Depending on how it goes, probably not. Lakers play better at home. Anthony Davis plays better at home. I feel like Phil Leotardo when he saw Johnny Sack crying at the wedding, and no, Sam, it wouldn't be a 95-7 the game day until we referenced The Sopranos. But I feel like Phil Leotardo when I watch Anthony Davis trying to play against Domantas Sabonis and just get his lunch taken every single time. My opinion of him as a man has totally plummeted. Like, we make fun of Domantas Sabonis as Hollow Man. We call him Hollow Man here at the station because he puts up a lot of hollow numbers at times. We saw it in the playoffs last year. We saw Kevon Looney outplay him multiple times last year in the first round. Not to say that Domantas Sabonis isn't a good player. He's good. Anthony Davis is supposed to be a top 75 player in the history of the NBA. He was voted to that team. You can't let good players bully you like that. I could live with the Giannis's of the world, Joel Embiid, having your number. That's fine. Jokic, another one. Sabonis is a tier down from those guys. If you're supposed to be the 1A, 1B on a team, that just can't happen. I'm sorry, it can't. My opinion on this guy is it's dwindling with every Kings matchup for him. So he's going to have something to prove this Saturday. And without a Draymond Green, that would be tough. That would be tough. Trace Jackson Davis, though, I have confidence in, which is crazy, the amount of confidence that this young squad has for the Warriors. Even last night, in a loss, I liked the confidence of Jonathan Kuminga. The 6 turnovers, that's tough. Getting more efficient at the line, though. Andrew Wiggins, 5 of 12, 17 points. It's just not going to cut in a game like that. Klay Thompson was awful. 3 of 13. Chris Paul, he needed to score. He got his attempts up to 12. That wasn't good enough. He only made 4 shots. It's just, that wasn't good enough. Moses Moody, solid contributions. I think he's one of the only few players that was in the plus category, in the plus minus. He had 9 points there. Loon Dog got some action, but he's not a scorer. He needed scoring last night. He just didn't get enough of it. He didn't get enough of it. And that's what Steve Kerr talked about yesterday on the offense being the bigger issue. Well, wait. I think he said the defense bigger issue than the offense, or vice. Whoever labeled this last night, and I love our crew, Kerr on the offense being the bigger issue than the offense is what it says right here. So we're going to see which one it is. It's the offense or the defense, or the defense or the offense. Take a listen.
I thought our half-court defense was pretty good. They missed some shots that they could have made, clearly. But overall, I thought, our defense was not the problem. It was much more our offense. They had 13 blocked shots. A lot of those were just us kind of wildly driving into Gafford without, getting a body into him first to take him out of his shot-blocking position. And then just a lot of stagnant possessions, not enough flow, not enough movement.
Not enough flow, not enough movement. It was a low-scoring game. It was not a great night for the Dallas Mavericks, who are known to get hot. It was basically Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, and then Derek Lively played well, right? Josh Green was efficient. So they got some help there, but Tim Hardaway Jr., not a great shooting night. The rest of the Dallas Mavericks starters, PJ Washington. So that was a game you could have won if a couple more shots gone your way. If you didn't do what Steve Kerr said right there, dribble drive, and then just not know what to do after that. It's great to drive into the paint. You got to kick it out. You got to find the open man. And far too often, there was some hero ball possessions. Let me get my shots up. Let me get my shots up. Let me find a rhythm. Let me find a flow. And it just wasn't there for Chris Paul, for Brandon Pajemski. His shot wasn't falling. Klay Thompson, all those guys. And he needed another one of them outside of Kuminga to step up. Wiggins, 17 points. A lot of that was in garbage time anyways. So they're going to need some offensive explosion on Saturday. And Stephen Curry will hopefully provide that. But again, going to a place where Steph, against the Lakers anyways, has notoriously struggled under the bright lights of Crypto.com Arena. With all those celebrities out there, it's going to be the game of the weekend. And last time these two teams played, I shouldn't say last time because LeBron, I'm saying last time these two teams played with LeBron and Steph because last matchup, first game outside of the All-Star break, coming out of it, no LeBron. It kind of lost his luster a little bit. It did. But that first game, man, that double overtime thriller, one of the greatest regular season games I've ever seen. Do they have something like that in store this Saturday? We'll see. And I don't care if they're both playing teams, man. Appreciate LeBron James playing Steph Curry. We do that. Two of the greatest of all time. They're getting old. They're getting old. How long can they keep this up? It can be gone like a Thanos snap, like that. Steve Kerr, I don't know if he feels like this team has lost some momentum.
A little bit, for sure. I mean, the record shows that, but I still like who our team is. We're hoping to get Steph back for Saturday. I like the team a lot better now than I did, a couple months ago where we were really sorting through a lot of things. So I think we have an identity. I think we know who we are. I think we'll bounce back here, and I'm excited about, the last part of the season.
Steve, can this team still make a run?
No, you can't worry about it. I mean, we look at them every day, obviously, but there's nothing we can do about that. But, the season, it really is a marathon. And at any point in the season, you rattle off 10 wins in a row, and then, that matters, whether it's in the beginning or the end, it doesn't matter. And I still have no doubt that this team can get on a great run and make a good push.
Did he just say rattle off 10 wins in a row? I'm going to play that again one more time. Steve Kerr, if the schedule is too daunting to make a run here.
No, you can't worry about it. I mean, we look at them every day, obviously, but there's nothing we can do about that. But, the season, it really is a marathon. And at any point in the season, you rattle off 10 wins in a row, and then, that matters, whether it's in the beginning or the end, it doesn't matter. And I still have no doubt that this team can get on a great run and make a good push.
Can this team win 10 games in a row? 888-957-9570. I'm just going to pull up the schedule right now. Lakers this Saturday. Knicks Monday. Grizzlies next Wednesday. Then you got the Pacers. Then you got the T-Wolves. Then you got the Heat. That's not easy. Then you got the Magic. Good team. Hornets stink. Spurs stink. You lost to the Spurs too, so then you got the Mavericks again. Rockets, Mavericks, Jazz, Lakers. It's getting too little too late. I don't see 10 wins in a row here, Steve. I'm sorry. And maybe you're just saying that to say it. But when you say, it doesn't matter when you win 10 games in a row. If it's the beginning of the year or at the end. I don't look at this team and say they're winning 10 games in a row. I just don't. Adrian Gutierrez on the YouTube chat and search 95.7 The Game right now. We're streaming all day long on your home for Golden State Warriors basketball, 95.7 The Game. Search, like, subscribe, all powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Adrian Gutierrez on the chat. I wouldn't play Curry. I would rest the vets for the play-in. If this was 3 years, both teams would... This was 3 years. See, I hate this stupid chat because this little emoji thing gets in the way, and I can't read what that word is. Both teams, if this was 3 years, both teams would be lottery teams. This is 3 years ago, 3 years before. Damn emojis. Squirrel. Sorry. But resting Steph Curry the rest of the way, I'm not sure about that. I don't think Steph would like that. I don't think the league would like that very much, especially, again, Stephen Curry playing LeBron James this Saturday. I don't think they would like that very much. And what does that solve? Honestly. I mean, if Steph's cleared to play, he's cleared to play, he's good to go. And he's going to play. By the way, there's no chance the Rockets could sneak into that 10th spot, right? And knock out either Lakers or the Warriors. Right? Right? 4 games back right now. That's they've won 3 in a row. Maybe? No. That would be a disaster for either Golden State or Los Angeles. Oh my God. the Rockets knock you out of that spot. Yikes. So do the Warriors still have a run in them? Can they make a push? So you see how Steve worded that. He thinks they could make a run, which I think is, ending the regular season on the right note, and then make a push, which you generally say when you're making a playoff push. Just reading between the lines here for Steve Kerr. What does that look like? 888-957-9570. I don't think they're winning 10 games in a row. 209. This is my guy Dylan, who always chimes in. I appreciate you, Dylan. You're a pre-gamer. You're loyal to the soil. Warriors held Irving and Luka last night. Warriors held Irving and Luka, held the threes, then they couldn't stop anything at the rim and didn't understand roles and place on the court, couldn't get anything to fall, but at least was competitive halfway. All right. I try to sparse through these messages as best as I can. Sometimes it's not always worded the best. You guys are texting. You guys are in the car. I understand. Please be safe. If you're texting in the car, you shouldn't be doing that. Voice to text, I hate that, but that might be the safer way. So I appreciate you chiming in nonetheless. Basically saying, wasn't great, but they were competitive. Is that what we're doing? Competitiveness? And I get it. Outside of Steph Curry, I just needed someone else to step up. Shasky was talking about it yesterday, and I agree. Is that really what we're doing with Andrew Wiggins when he's making that much money? He's supposed to be the number 2 on this team. He is supposed to be the number 2 player on this freaking team.
I hate to do this.
Do it.
When I saw Draymond Green out for the night with a hurt back, I was like, "You got really?" No one knows on the backs, right? It's like the most unknown.
They said soreness. That's Joe Shasky, by the way, joining me now.
He's jumping up and down on the sidelines.
It looked fine.
I don't know, maybe, but it's just the coincidence of him, the coinciding of him missing games when Steph is out that are like crucial. Like, and again, it's not that crucial, but it was just like, really? Like, and that's the one thing, you know what? As bad as, and I've crushed Clay, right? At times. People think I've crushed Clay at times. Clay suits up.
He does.
All the time. Good or bad. We don't know what his body's like.
No.
And I'm sure it's hurting.
Well, he's had 2 major injuries. Like, he's had 2 career-threatening injuries, and he's still getting starts. So
I'm sorry. Am I triggered by that? Should I be triggered by that? It just frustrated me. When I saw he wasn't playing, I was like, of course. You're the leader, and you can't ride with these youngsters?
Losing that game last night, and we'll wait and see what happens to the Lakers, but I watched both those teams last night, and I know the Warriors don't have Stephen Curry, and they didn't have Draymond Green, but I look at that game, and I look at both those teams like, what are we doing here? They're both, whatever you want to sparse it, it's the 9 and 10 seed. They're both the 9 and 10 seed.
They're playing each other.
And they're playing each other, and what are we doing here? Like I heard Steve Kerr right there, Joe, and I know I'm up against it. We're going to break in a second. It's fine.
I'm triggered.
Kerr basically insinuated that he still thinks they have like a 10-win streak left in them. It doesn't matter it matters how you finish the season. But he says, yeah, I think so. We might be able to win 10 games in a row. Come on. You cannot say that with a straight face, Steve, and say, we still got to run 10 games in a row? Really? Really?
More unlikely. Fitz continuing to talk about the 17-game streak for Kyrie, which is the longest in the 7th, or them winning 10 in a row.
I think it's more likely that Luka Doncic starts a new streak and goes 10 straight triple-doubles.
How many times have they won 10 in a row in general during the Kerr era?
It's a great question. It had to happen.
I don't know.
The championship run, it probably happened. Didn't happen last year, right? No.
I mean, going 10-1 or 10-2 is impressive.
It is. That's Joe Shasky. He's impressive. Bonte Hill and him, 32 minutes from now, morning roast. I got a break, pregame show, and I got something on that quarterback from New York on the other side on 95.7 The Game.
Our world is constantly changing, and every day, Stanford Medicine advances our understanding. Our world-class school of
Tim? Drop my headphones. These swivel chairs, when you're working on the mic and you have your headphones everywhere. I remember I did it last year at the old studio. I think it was after I played like a USA highlight World Cup or something. I spun around and did like a 360 and I got all tangled up and it was all bad. Then I had to play highlights after that just to get myself untangled. And it was a whole mess. And speaking of messes, 888-957-9570. This is the pregame show. We know all about that. And we're talking Warriors. We're talking Mavericks. Mavericks 109, Warriors 99. Warriors now 34-31. They are still the 10th spot. They didn't lose any ground, courtesy of the Kings, who, well, if you still thought you were going to get the 6-7 spot, don't think that's going to happen. But you can still get the 9th seed and potentially the 8th, potentially. But the 9th spot, if you want that home court in the play-in, you're getting back to the Lakers. And a massive game this Saturday. And again, all of that coverage will be here leading up to that game and pre and post, Warriors Live, Warriors post game, right here on 95.7 The Game, your home for Golden State Warriors basketball. So we'll continue to take your calls and texts in regard to that. Joe Shasky fired up about Draymond Green, obviously. Lower back soreness, late scratch, but he saw him jumping, gyrating. I was like, back doesn't seem to be too bothered. And I get it. No Steph Curry. He's kind of, building this reputation. When Steph's out, Draymond just, whatever. I don't even know if it's a reputation. It just feels like a fact at this point. When Steph's out, we're not expected to win, so who cares? Now, we're not saying he's not injured. We're not saying that. Sure, his lower back might be sore. Hell, I think you could say that for any player right now. I mean, all these guys that are 6'4", 6'5", when is your back not sore in the NBA? I'm 5'11", 6 foot with a beanie on maybe. My lower back's sore. I think after you turn 30 too, it just happens. I started doing my walks again yesterday after all this rain, and it was actually really nice in the East Bay yesterday. It was like 70 degrees. It was beautiful. Took a walk with the dog and baby girl and just walking up a bunch of hills in East Oakland. Your boy was feeling it. That was tough. We gritted through that though, right? Much like Klay Thompson's performance last night. It wasn't the greatest, but it was gritty. Fought through adversity. That was me last night and late afternoon yesterday, walking around. All right, we'll get back to the Dubs in a second. I got to get into this. We opened the show yesterday with the Stephen Curry, he's not ruling out a presidential run, and the Aaron Rodgers, RFK Jr., vice presidency bid potentially, and he's on the short list for RFK Jr. reportedly, and it was him and Jesse Ventura, and I guess Jesse Ventura hasn't been reached out about it, so everyone's just like, oh, Aaron Rodgers, is he going to play for the Jets? Is he going to be a vice president candidate and stuff like that? And then this report comes out. And it's just, it's one thing, the whole ayahuasca thing, it's fine, whatever, I don't care. If you're doing ayahuasca, whether it's legal, fine, whatever. I don't care about that. Trying to get your mind right, your mentals, it's one thing, whatever. The immunization thing where he lied about getting vaccinated, he said he was immunized because he had COVID, all that sort of stuff. You know what? In the grand scheme of things, whatever. Aaron Rodgers, that's just who he is. That's the lane he wants to go down and talk about it and say all these things are bad for people and don't take them and ivermectin, and he wants to be Throw Rogan, as they're calling him. Sure, go on Pat McAfee, spew all that nonsense. You know what? Sooner or later, something's going to come up where people are going to be like, oh, okay, you can't be saying that. And sure enough, it did. You saw where it was going with Aaron Rodgers, and then you got the vice president nominee, and then you think NFL reporters, you think they, do deep dives on players, on coaches, on stuff like that, on John Gruden's emails, big bombshell stuff. They do, but it's nothing like the political, reporters, Twitter world, journalists. It's a whole nother ballgame, people, when it comes to the leaders of this country and holding them accountable. So he just throws his hat into that ring for less than 24 hours. And wouldn't you know it, you had, by the way, I hear Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky and Sam Lubin, they're fired up out there, and they're going to be on here in about 20 minutes. But Pamela Brown and Jake Tapper of CNN. And I can already hear it now. Oh, CNN, they're lying. Well, this person, Pamela Brown, this reporter for CNN, spoke to Aaron Rodgers, identified herself as a reporter back at the Kentucky Derby in 2013. And when she was introduced to Rodgers, who was then with the Green Bay Packers, this is per CNN, the article, at a post-Derby party, and hearing that she was a journalist with CNN, Rodgers immediately began attacking the news media for covering up important stories. Rodgers brought up the tragic killing of 20 children and 6 adults by a gunman at Sandy Hook Elementary School, claiming it was actually a government inside job, and the media was intentionally ignoring it. When Brown questioned him on the evidence to show this was very real shooting was staged, Rodgers began sharing various theories that have been disproven numerous times. Such conspiracy theories were also later at the center of lawsuits brought by victims' families when they sued conspiracy theorist Alex Jones on the matter. You know what? The ayahuasca, the immunization, that takes backseat to this. This is a whole nother level of being a low-life, scumbag, douchebag, piece of crap. Aaron Rodgers has no place being the starting quarterback of the New York freaking Jets in one of the biggest markets in the biggest sport in America, spouting off conspiracy theories. And I don't give a damn if it was 11 years ago when we all should have seen his true colors then, and we're just seeing them in recent years. But doing that, dismissing the murdering of children, dismissing their parents and their feelings and their heartbreak, and saying they're lying about it and that it was an inside job. Not only is it ignorant, it goes to show that he doesn't have an empathetic bone in his body. Clearly, he's not a father. Clearly, he doesn't have any children. Because that, for damn sure, if he did, he wouldn't be saying crap like that. Or maybe he would. Who knows? Maybe he's just that level of a scumbag. But I'm not laughing anymore at this guy. I refuse to, just poo-poo it and brush it aside and say, ayahuasca, RELAX. No. I want to use some expletives that I'm not allowed to say here at 5:43 a.m. on the pregame show. I really would love to dig into this guy more, but this isn't a podcast. There's FCC regulations here. Just a tremendous scumbag and low-life human being, Aaron Rodgers. And I'm done laughing at him, and I'm done bringing him up. I don't even want to refer to his name. He's just going to be the quarterback in New York. And no, he's not Zach Wilson, and he's not Daniel Jones. I'm up against it. I just need to get that off my chest. This guy he sucks. Sucks as a human. I'll leave it at that. Pregame show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
At Shane Company, we believe everybody is made to shine. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. Shining is not for a chosen few. Like a rare gemstone, each one of us was created under just the right set of circumstances.
At AmericanEagle.com, another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
Now, back to the pregame show on 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back, pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. One more segment before handing it off to Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky, the morning roast. Had a great show yesterday. Bob Myers, damn near had an hour with him. Bob's just the best. We're going to replay some of that, some of those highlights in the upcoming show. So want to stay tuned for that. Bob is amazing. You can find that entire interview on YouTube. Search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe there. We are streaming all day long. 5 a.m. through 7 p.m. Again, right here on 95.7 The Game. Getting a lot of action on the Comcast Biz text line, 888-957-9570. Say I'm getting political, quote unquote. I know it was political to just call out people for believing blatant lies about the murdering of children, but I guess you do you, buddy. And I'm done talking about that guy from New York, that quarterback from New York that wears green. I'm done. Moved on. Speaking of moving on, Eric Kendricks, who we thought was going to be a 49er, is not. He's going to the Cowboys. What a twist. Agreeing in terms doesn't mean you sign on the dotted line. So Eric Kendricks leaving the Niners for the Cowboys and reuniting with Mike Zimmer, who's now over there as the defensive coordinator. Or is he part of is he the DC or is he part of the... Anyways. His former head coach from Minnesota gets reunited with him. Kendricks, obviously, last year with the Chargers. And yeah, he is the defensive coordinator. That's what I thought. So, very interesting turn of events there. So now the Niners are in need of a backup linebacker. And who's that going to be? And here's just what we got so far for the 49ers, as I'm using my PFF free agency tracker. And they have it's very nice and clean. They got a list of all the teams there and what's been going on. Starting off with the releasing of Isaiah Oliver. They've re-signed Colton McKivitz, 1-year deal. Re-signed Brandon Allen. Don't know the terms on that yet. They signed Leonard Floyd, 2 years, $20 million. They signed Yetur Gross Matos, 2 years, $18 million. And Yetur, there you go, Yetur. Re-signed George Odom, special teamer, 2 years, $10 million. They signed Jordan Elliott, no, not the blogger, not the writer for NBC Sports Bay Area, but defensive tackle, 2 years, $10 million. They acquired Malik Collins yesterday from Houston, former Raider, former Cowboy. So they acquired Malik Collins and released Eric Armstead. Oh, and they re-signed Kevin Givens 1 year. So you need a linebacker. You need depth. I don't think Dre Greenlaw is going to be there at the start of the regular season. Maybe he could be. I'd be shocked if that was the case. I would be shocked. But crazier things have happened. The Achilles, though, it's just not something you want to mess with. That's the one injury. You don't want to rush back from that. And you would like to have depth anyways, wouldn't you? You need a backup for the backup. I mean, that was something that happened in the Super Bowl that was glaring. When you had Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, or you had Oren Burks out there, and they just looked lost at times against that Andy Reid-led offense with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, amongst others. So, depth, still a concern at the linebacker spot for the 49ers. We'll see what happens there. But this is where you make your money if you're John Lynch and co. and all these general managers out there. You wait for the big boys, the big fish, the tuna, the marlins. You wait for them all to get caught first. You're hanging out overnight if you're a night fisherman Shout out Monterey when I see all the squid boats out there. You have to you squid hunt at night. Get all the big bright lights out there, and you can see them, and it attracts all the squid and stuff like that. So you get the little big size of squid right there, which is delicious, by the way. Oh, God. It's the horrible thing about this job. When you get up so early, I get up at 3:30, and I've been up already for about 2.5 hours. Like, I'm hungry. And then 2 hours from now, I could be eating like fish. I could eat whatever. I can eat like a main course. Not breakfast. I don't crave breakfast anymore like I used to. It's always hearty food. So I talk about squid. I want some calamari. That sounds great. I'm always thinking about food. It always goes back to food. But this is where the general managers make their bread, is capturing those middle tier fish or the diamonds in the rough, right? Maybe Jordan Elliott is one of those. Maybe Yetur Gross-Matos for 2 years, $18 million, and maybe it turns into a steal. Maybe it does. High upside guys that you're kind of having a prove-it deal. Malik Collins, I like the move. When he was a Raider, left a lot to be desired, but you know what? That's the Raiders. This is the Niners. Although I'll say this, the Niners have earned this reputation about bringing in defensive linemen and then turning them into these beasts, these studs, right? I think last year was kind of, a step back on that. A little bit. I'm not crushing Chris Kosarek, the defensive line coach, or anything like that, but when you bring in Randy Gregory, when you bring in Javon Hargrave, when you bring in, Chase Young, players of that caliber, first rounds types of talent there, and they don't perform to the level of expectation, you start, questioning things. Drake Jackson was getting DNPs. Javon Kinlaw is gone. It's a top 15 pick just a couple years ago. It's not good. So they're reshoring up this defensive front, and they need it to be better. Because if they're not getting pressure on opposing quarterbacks, it's going to be a long season. I don't care who you are. If you are not getting pressure on the quarterback, your secondary could be as good as anyone's. The greats will get a man open. The Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, hell, Kirk Cousins. Yeah, Kirk bleeping Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
He'll dice you up. He did that last year. Kirk Cousins, by the way, I guess not arguing, that was strong. I guess discussing at his presser yesterday, talking with Kyle Pitts, the tight end, who also wears number 8. He's like, I can donate like $20,000 to a charity of your choice, all this sort of stuff. And it was almost like passive aggressive, like, hey, I don't need the number, man. It's cool. I've just had the number my entire life, but I don't need it, dude. That's cool. Hey, do you want it though? Hey, yeah, you keep it. No, really, it was very awkward. It was like kind of one of those. I was like, it's just a number. It's just a number. Hey, the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan, changed his number. It was for a hot second, but still changed it. Kobe changed it. Bron changed it. Steph didn't change it. But great players have done that. By the way, speaking of number changes, apparently Deebo Samuel's going to be wearing number 1. No longer 19, but number 1. Okay. What does that mean? And by the way, there's a report sprinkling out there. I think his name is Chase Senior. Chase Senior of Chat Sports. I don't know. Of the validity, we'll see. But report via Chase Senior of Chat Sports. The Baltimore Ravens want to trade for 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel and reached out to San Francisco about the availability of the 2021 All-Pro. As of right now, the Niners have no plans on trading him, but could that change? If the 49ers traded Deebo post-June 1st, they could save $22 million, and the dead money would only be $6.6 million. With Brandon Ayuk up for a new deal and his price tag increasing, especially after Calvin Ridley got $23 million per year from the Titans, could the Niners deal Deebo to team him up with Lamar Jackson? So, take that for what it's worth. Chase Sr. there, who also does a 49ers Report podcast talking all things 49ers. So Deebo Samuel, would it be the craziest thing? No. Because again, you got to pay Ayuk and you got to pay the quarterback next year. And you got to get out ahead of that. You do. And Brock, barring a total turning into a pumpkin type of a season where he's just not good, which I just can't see that happening outside of a brutal injury. In which, if that happened, and I'm not saying it, knock on wood, we don't want anyone to get hurt, but crazy things happen. And the 49ers have to protect themselves. Hell, the Warriors gave Klay Thompson a boatload of money while he was injured. And then he got injured again. Crazy things happen. They do. Crazy things also happen on the Morning Roast. And that's coming up next. Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky going to talk Warriors, their loss to the Mavericks, Niners, free agency, amongst other things on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ.